Hello guys, ghouls and gals, and welcome back to the archives. I'm your host, Nick Nightmare, and today we're actually going to be looking at a cute little mobile game I found recently. This game is one called MiSide. It's a sort of pet sim mixed with a dating simulator, with a character you're watching over being this cute little chibi blue-haired girl named Meide. Meide will ask you to complete requests for her, such as cleaning up laundry, buying her a TV, downloading your subconscious to the game, finding her hairbrush, and... Wait a minute. Yes, that's right, all you lovely monsters out there. MiSide is actually a psychological horror game in which you are uploaded into the game itself. Upon entering this version of the game, you see a large device in the bedroom that you didn't see in the game. Meide is nowhere to be found, it seems, and after collecting some items in order to power the device, the teleporter on the ground boots up and begins to transport you to a whole new version of the game. But something goes wrong. The power seems to go out, and it looks as if all of the batteries used to power the device have been stolen. A note on the wall of the bathroom reads, "Can you see me? And play with me." Turn around, you see a battery in the bathroom cabinet. But upon leaving the room, you see that the bedroom has been replaced by a long, stretching corridor, which only grows shorter as you walk forward. At the end of the hall, Meide is waiting for you, but she slinks away, disappearing into the darkness as you now find yourself on the other side of the house in the kitchen. A hand claws at the window next to the battery, and you find yet another battery in the living room next to the boombox, which is now playing static. But the final battery requires you to return to the kitchen, where there are now flies buzzing around a now open refrigerator. That can't be good for the food inside, or the battery. When you close the refrigerator, the magnets that spell out love fall to the ground. Let's just pick those back up, and they're all fixed. Now let's just power this bad boy up and get the hell out of here. After powering up the teleporter, we find ourselves in a newly lit room. This next clip I have is not my finest moment, as I find out we are no longer alone in this version. Please excuse the ringing in the background, my mic was having some issues I wasn't aware of upon recording this. Data transfer. Oh, the painting is different. Oh, fucking Christ. Oh my god. Oh, you bitch. Meide shows you her tiny world, showing off all the strange little quirks about it, including the TV, with which you can just reach in and grab anything from any commercial, apparently. She tries her best to be a hospitable host, even going as far as to cook for you. She does ask for your help cutting some vegetables, however, and asks you to grab some scissors from the bathroom. The bathroom is a bit of a mess, and the cover has fallen off the vent. We'll just fix that real quick, and... what's this? It seems there are some strange cartridges in the vent, each one with strange names on it. What could this be? A collection of lost games? An embarrassing music collection? Or perhaps something more... adult? Maybe we should confront her about it. Something feels off about this whole thing. Or not. After dinner, our head begins to feel a little funny, and Meide brings us to the bathroom to give us some medicine in order to fix it. We pass out for a bit, but wake up to see that Meide has rearranged the rooms and is now asking you to play some games with her. You can play some console games such as a fighting game called Dairy Scandal, and an overhead collectathon called Penguin Piles, in which you collect snowballs on an ice plane. You can also play a card game in which... What is that noise? A strange noise is coming from the wardrobe, and Meide insists that you ignore it, but... I don't know. It seems weird. I guess it's nothing. Yes, if you follow a particular set of rules, you can actually choose to ignore the wardrobe and just stay with Meide inside of the game. And this just kinda ends the game. No real resolution on how this turns out, other than watching yourself sitting with Meide in front of the TV as the world fades to black. However, if you decide to press on, Meide will disappear as the lights go out. This is the part of the game that can be a bit harder for those of you sensitive to subjects such as self-harm, so if you're a bit squeamish when it comes to that, I'd suggest skipping here. When you leave the bedroom, a prompt pops up to check the kitchen. Inside you see a hand clawing from the drain holding a flashlight, but upon leaving the kitchen, you see the bathroom door open. You see the bathroom door open. You see the bathroom door open. Thank you. With someone hanging from the ceiling. The door closes before you reach it, and when it opens again, the body is nowhere in sight. Instead, Meide appears in the mirror behind you, creeping up to you before knocking out the lights again. The door seems to be blocked if you try to exit it again, and strange hands reach through before slamming their fingers in the doorframe so hard that some of them even fall off. When you exit again, Meide is in the kitchen holding a knife and giving us her best Jeff the Killer impression, before disappearing once again. Oh, no, she's just hiding behind the island. Well, let's go back. Thank you, Meide. Well, it seems that Meide has lost her head, but if you let her better half lead you back to her bedroom, you'll find the key to her heart. I'm sorry. Upon finding the key and entering the basement, we see a safe in the back of the room, as well as a large cell with a strange blue-haired girl. An awfully familiar-looking one. She claims to be the true Meide of this version of the game, with the Meide you've been speaking to being one called Crazy Meide. She asks you to give her the key to the cell, and in return she gives you a ring that she claims will help you escape. She also tells you that all the cartridges are just previous players who are also absorbed into the game. Finally, she asks you to take the console next to the cell in order to stop Crazy Meide from tricking another player into helping her turn you into a console. Doing so will alert Crazy Meide to your plans, and she'll come down to the basement in order to try and find you. But by following the ring's instructions and staying out of sight, you find your way out of the basement and into a place between the versions of the game. One in which not all of the textures have been loaded and random assets are strewn about at random. You even find some other players who seem to have gotten lost in this area as well. But upon navigating through this in-between world, you come across the nice Meide again, and another version of the game in order to meet up with yet another Meide, with this Meide being nicknamed Cappy. Cappy was supposed to help you find your way out, but unfortunately it seems that Crazy Meide has beaten you to the punch and killed Cappy, causing her memory to reset upon respawning. Now where have I heard that before? This version of the game is a bit buggy, but luckily all you really need to do is wait for Meide to fix the ring to find the path to the core room. This time can be spent playing games with Cappy, who is more than enthusiastic about a new player. Was that a... Never mind. After wasting enough time with Cappy, Meide is once again ready to give you the ring and send you on your way. The next version of the game you find yourself in is also a little too familiar. A constantly looping hallway, never ending. The more you loop through, the more dark and distorted it gets. Strange spider-like creatures begin to crawl on the walls. Using a bat that you acquired from the window. I always thought it was the baseball that went through the window, not the bat, but who am I to judge? You can beat down the spider creatures and make your way through the hallway again. The mini TV in the hall tells you to change the time on the clock, and upon doing so, a new, strange Meide shows up, along with a strange distortion. The new smaller Meide sits in the hall asking you to stay with her in order to keep playing. She begins grabbing your arm, begging you to stay, as this distorted figure grows closer and closer. The only way to break the cycle is to jump out the window into the void. Oh, hi, Meide. Upon landing, you find a smaller version of Meide's house, with a mini Meide asking for your help. By helping her, she creates a large key for the door next to her. The next couple of rooms are filled with Meides and mannequins, and a short-haired Meide tells you to meet her in the attic. However, the only thing waiting for you there is the arcade machine. This machine tells you to check the Meide models in order to accept the correct versions and get rid of the bad ones. However, short-haired Meide reveals that the room is where all the rejected versions of the Meide go. These Meides were rejected due to their violent nature, but they're also quite shy, meaning they won't attack you if you just look at them. We all know what that means, folks. It's time for obligatory Weeping Angel sequence. But upon making it through, you arrive at something that seems to be a sort of dumping grounds, as well as a strange-looking facility. In this facility, there is a series of connect-the-dots puzzles that will open the path forward for you. These dot puzzles are a nice balance of relatively simple and somewhat thought-provoking, so as not to make you think too much about it, but to still add a simple level of challenge. Crazy Meide is also here, taunting you about her ability to keep up with you no matter how fast you run. At the end of the facility, there seems to be a strange digital world with a cable car going across a large chasm. The one controlling the cable car is a Meide known as Meidephone, and she orders you to man the turret while she drives. This section feels like one of those turret games you find at the arcades, such as the Amazon Jungle one, or licensed ones such as the Terminator or Alien. You all know the ones that I'm talking about. At the end of the cable car, there's also an arcade machine with a Doom-style run gun. The path forward seems to lead to a dead end with just a single picture on the wall. Or not. This room has some sort of strange, corrupted Meide, being seemingly made out of nothing but void. She asks you to find the fragments of her memory in the form of scraps of a picture. She'll wander blindly around the room, corrupting you if she touches you, but you can help her by collecting the pieces of the picture and piecing them together again. This is another version of the game that doesn't seem to be finished. Textures aren't loading, files won't load, or at least not at first, and it seems like this was a version of the game seemingly left to be forgotten. When you piece the picture together, you're able to restore the color to Meide's body. But something is missing. Her face is gone. Someone took it from her. Someone stole her face. She points you in the direction of the culprit, towards the wardrobe, but there's nothing there. When you turn back around, the room is now empty, aside from a pile of discarded Meides. You need to make your way through the winding hallways once again, avoiding these weeping Meides. Admittedly, I've never enjoyed these types of sections in games. It's always a bit tedious, and while it can be tense most of the time, it just feels more annoying than anything. But next we come across version 1.1 of the game, with a sleepy version of Meide being one that resides in this version. You need to find some way to wake her up in order to proceed to the next version, as the way is blocked with a door that requires 2 levers to be pulled simultaneously. This is another section of the game that I personally wasn't a fan of. Don't get me wrong, the room is gorgeous when it's all dark and decorated with glowing lights, but Meide continually falls asleep, meaning you have to waste time waking her up multiple times. It doesn't take too long and only happens once or twice, but it's still enough to be somewhat of a nuisance. Upon opening the door, you press a button that doesn't seem to do anything at first. But by trying to turn back, you see that your hand is now completely flat, and you're transported to another 2D world. Yep, this game actually has a visual novel section. In your panic over being 2D, you find that you've lost the ring that has been guiding you through the different versions. But you find that a 2D version of Meide has it, and will only give it to you if you play a game with her. A fun little game of tic-tac-toe. But before your game can finish, Crazy Meide bursts through the door, damaging this 2D's Meide world by destroying the text box. 2D Meide leads you down a long hallway away from the Crazy Meide. She gives you the ring and sending you out into the next version of the game, this one being inhabited by not Meide, no. This version of Meide wants a sense of individuality, so she identifies as Mila. She leads you to the different corruptions around her versions of the game. After finishing the first one, we see that Meide has seemingly disappeared. We could try to locate her and... oops. Once Meide is finished, she lets you continue on to the next corruption, as well as the next one after that. She seemingly continues to try and impress you, showing you her book collection, her adeptness at swordplay, as well as her workout routine. She doesn't want you to leave. She just wants you to stay with her. Once all the corruptions have been cleared and you're ready to leave, she begs for you to stay. But you can't. You walk out to the hall and hear the revving of a chainsaw behind you. As you turn back, you see Meide standing over Mila, ready to chase you down this long, winding hallway. You need to dodge bookshelves, hop over ledges, and turn down the right hallways in order to avoid her. This gameplay feels familiar. Anyways, when you reach the end, the hall collapses and shows another catwalk from the other facility. This catwalk leads to a regal-looking arena, with Meide standing in the middle. She challenges you to a new game. She puts you through a series of trials. Sounds familiar once again, but I digress. The first one, you can only move while the music is playing. The second, Meide plays a dangerous game of hide and seek where you need to hide behind these shield things, only moving when her eyes are closed. And finally, for the last one, all you need to do is run, as she throws these bombs down your path. However, when you reach the end again, the path collapses and you find yourself in a series of events that leads to a new version of the game, version 0.5. Once again, this section is full of unloaded textures and Crazy Meide has once again followed you here. But she's not alone. Ugly Meide is here as well. A decrepit-looking child, constantly grinding her teeth together, threatening you to find her bear if you want to be able to leave. However, upon giving her her bear, she realizes something. She likes having you as a playmate. She doesn't want to give you up. She chases you down, but accidentally clears up the door to the bathroom upon doing so. And upon getting through the door, you find yourself once again in a new version. Version 0, the core. The core will give you the ability to reset Crazy Meide, but there's an issue. Neither you nor Meide know the character index for Crazy Meide. Meide goes searching for it, but as you're sitting there for hours, she never comes back. You go out looking for her in a new version of the game, and you find a phone with a strange first-person POV. Upon finding yourself through the phone, Crazy Meide appears once again, scolding you for getting caught. She asks why you run from her, just because her whole life consists of 4 rooms. She shows you your own reality, a life lived in a single room, repeating the same cycle over and over and over again. And from this, we learn that we are the developer for Meide, the creator of this psycho. A new file appears on your desktop, and upon opening it, you find all it is just a point-and-click style version of your life. A new loop, where you sit at your desk and go through the exact same loop, over and over and over again. Meide offers you an escape. All you need to do is be hers. You wake up in the basement of the original version of the game, but Meide frees you from your captivity. She opens the cage and runs upstairs, but she's been caught by Crazy Meide, having her head cut clean off. Before appearing once again, her memories reset. It's over. You've lost. Or have you? Meide knew she might get caught and left a contingency plan in the form of a note on her hand. You lead her back to the core. You take the character index and type it in, and the screen prompts you to pull a lever. And the strange figure sitting in the chair above you jumps down. When you pull the lever and try to leave, the figure throws you out of the room, back into the original version where we started. Crazy Meide is sitting in the kitchen, but she seems normal. She tells you that the only way to exit is to put in a code in the basement computer. The computer shows the names of different people, among which you can find your name with a 4-digit code. You return upstairs, you walk to the door, and Meide comes to wish you goodbye. But something is still off. She's still acting strange. She reveals that she is not truly a Meide, that she never existed in the first place. She returns you to your quote-unquote real world as the frames drop to an alarming rate. This fake Meide reaches into the basement safe and removes the cartridge from the console. You've been in her own little world this entire time. A pawn in her game. The final ending we can get in this game is revealed through the final cutscene as Meide reveals the 4-digit code to the safe downstairs. By opening the safe up, we reveal the same console from the last ending. And if we interact with it, we pull our own plug for some reason. What? I tried multiple ways to see if we could just interact with the console without fucking killing ourselves, but nope. By interacting with the console at all, we just fucking kill ourselves like a lemming following his brothers to the end of a goddamn cliff. So, overall, what score would I give this game? Well, that's a bit of a tough one. On the one hand, the sections of actual true psychological horror were extremely effective. One of the first sections where you leave the bathroom and there's a long extended hallway only for the door on the other side to begin to grow closer and closer as you walk down the hall is extremely effective. But on the other hand, these sections are few and far between, unfortunately. Over the entire 3-hour, give or take, experience, there are only really 3 extended psychological horror sections, broken up by some of the Weeping Angel segments as well. In between those, we get an interesting look at all the different versions of the Meide present throughout the multiverse of Meides. But during these times, I don't usually feel uneasy, and they're not really building up the tension of the experience. It's the same issue as a game like Hello Neighbor, which I will talk about later. The universe is made to be too broad, too vast, too extended. Because of this, at times, it can make Crazy Meide feel like a non-threat, as oftentimes it almost feels like a coincidence when the two of you bump into each other. Now, does this make the game less enjoyable? Meh. Honestly, certain non-horror sections were still very enjoyable, but I can't help but feel it would have benefited from Crazy Meide feeling like more of a persistent threat. Maybe that's just me, but it would have been much nicer to have more sections kind of like the end of the Mila section, where she arrives either right as you're leaving or moments before you're done in the area you were in. But ultimately, that is just my opinion, and I'd still give this game a 6.5, maybe 7 out of 10. Overall, very enjoyable experience and one I'd recommend to others. Unfortunately, my time is drawing to a close, but please feel free to like, subscribe, and comment down below. I'd love to hear all of your thoughts about MiSide. Did some of you like the long extended universe of the game, or did some of you feel like it took away from the overall experience? Let me know. And with that, I hope to see you all within the archives again soon. Goodbye for now.